Now, Central Oregon's local alert weather with Eric Oren.
Happy Thursday, Central Oregon. We're starting off with a look at current temperatures in our area. As you can see here on the map, we are at and below that freezing threshold here this morning. So any activity that you see out there in terms of precipitation, potentially some patchy fog, would be freezing precipitation and or freezing fog, which could lead to some potentially icy conditions out there on your commute. Speaking of which, let's take a look at your road conditions so we can have an idea of what to expect out there this morning. Now, early on this morning, we saw a couple of areas of patchy dense fog pop up, and they have fluctuated already this morning. But as you can see on the cameras here, Prineville potentially experiencing some limited visibility, Madras as well, although it's fairly light. We saw a little bit of activity here with regard to limited visibility in Bend early this morning, but as I mentioned to you, these conditions do continue to change, and with very cold temperatures out there, you can expect potential for maybe a little bit of tricky commute conditions. Now here's a look at your workday forecast. In Bend, high around 39 degrees, and the wind currently west and out of the southwest. It's going to eventually change to out of the north and staying in the 5 to 15 mile an hour range, so a little less active than would be noticeable. Now we expect the chance for some light wintry mixed precipitation around the midday through the early afternoon. It's fairly light and it's going to be spotty, but it's definitely a chance it's going to be there. And we're going to top out somewhere just shy of around 40 degrees. Now let's take a look at the next 7 days, as we are going to be returning to close to seasonal average ranges. We're a little bit cold today and tomorrow, but by the middle of next week, we should be back to what you expect for this time of year. Let's take a look at the satellite and radar. Not a lot going on early this morning, but you can see here we have a bit of activity concentrated to the south of us, and still California getting hit quite a bit with as a result of this low pressure system that's over the western United States. Now, let's take a look at our future tracks. You have an idea what to expect here locally. Now, early this morning, we see some activity concentrated there in the Cascades. That's that blue concentration in the mountains. And then we see throughout the morning a bit more activity, see some spotty mixed precipitation popping up on the radar here around the midday and lasting with us through the afternoon. And then we see things clear out before the early morning hours. This is around 3 a.m. and then we see a bit of snow re-emerging around the 97 corridor. It's a bit widespread, so we can expect a bit more snow in the early morning hours into the overnight into Friday. Now, let's take a look at your future snowfall. We do expect a bit more snow. We've seen light and consistent snowfall in the Cascades. And before Friday afternoon and evening, when things are supposed to change just a little bit with regard to weather, we're looking at 1 to 4 inches in the mountains and a little bit less than an inch here locally. So not quite done with that snow, but it's going to be fairly light, what we're going to be seeing here over the next little bit. Now here is a winter weather advisory. It's slowly creeping closer to our forecast area this morning. It was reserved to the Blue Mountains, but it is moving in just a little bit closer. That's in place until 1 o'clock on Friday due to potential winter weather headed that direction. So do be advised if that's the area through which you live or commute. Now here is a look at the forecast highs in the 30s and 40s today. A little bit cooler than yesterday, but pretty close to average. A couple degrees below perhaps. Now here's a look at your lows in the 20s and 30s. Some more freezing temperatures expected as we round the corner here and look at your 7-day forecast. So light chances for some precipitation, a bit of snow maybe in the forecast tomorrow. And then this weekend, we're returning to temperatures that you might expect for this time of year in the middle to upper 40s with those overnight lows, and the upper 20s even getting close to that 30-degree range as well. That's been a look at your local alert weather.